Welcome to the House of Kayfabe on YouTube. This is the Superior Radio Network channel. Make sure that you click subscribe and also click the little bell to get the notifications. You want to know exactly when the videos come out so that you can interact with us. And we are going to be talking about something interesting. There is a feud in professional wrestling, and it's between a wrestler and Eric Bischoff. Eric Bischoff has some things to say about CM Punk, and I'm not sure if I agree or not. What about you, Steve Barker?
I think this is going to be interesting. You know what Vince McMahon says, never talk about a match that you can never have. And this is a match we can have, but it's getting just as much heat as anything on, say, like
You don't think
Raw.
Eric Bischoff will break out the old school gi and,
Oh,
and go
God.
at it with CM Punk? No?
Who was worse worker, him or Shane McMahon?
Definitely him. Shane McMahon jumped off of things. He was
Okay.
a dummy.
Okay, so but what about in the ring? Outside of just jumping off, whose punches were worse?
Oh, punches? That's I don't know. I can't really say when it comes to punches, but definitely in the ring, I would say Shane McMahon's better. And it really pains me to say that because I hate Shane McMahon in the ring.
And I think this is going to be an interesting video because you don't like Eric Bischoff and you love CM Punk. Or wait, love Eric Bischoff and love CM Punk.
I do.
I don't like Bischoff and I love CM Punk.
Okay.
And I think that Bischoff is right. He's right about
weird
this.
to think that. See, that's one of the things. Well, first of all, let's just talk about what Eric Bischoff said. What did Eric Bischoff say?
He basically said that CM Punk is the biggest money pit in the history of promoting wrestling, that he has been given all this money. We don't really know what kind of money, but I think we can assume that we're talking millions, multiple millions. No doubt. And he popped the rating on August 20th when CM Punk showed up.
August 20th, 2021, CM Punk debuts on Rampage. Now, Rampage is used to getting ratings of
400,000, 500,000.
Okay, so 0.5 ratings.
Yeah, and he did about 1.1, and it was a big fucking deal. And he was hot. And then I'm pretty sure that and I've got all the ratings from all the ratings from Dynamite, and he did big numbers, better than usual. And then they all just kind of went back to normal and they on Dynamite, if you just kind of look, they go everywhere from 800,000 to 1.1 every once in a while. You know, they're just staying constant. And I think what Bischoff is trying to say is like when he took over WCW, they were in the shitter. They were. And then he did some, contract magic, and he is the only person. And I give him this respect. He's the only person to ever beat Vince McMahon for 83 weeks. So that's Bischoff true. Has that. Bischoff, as much as I don't like him, because when I was watching the Wars, I never watched WCW. I was Raw all the way. I never watched WCW. I've now went back and watched the match, like the wrestling matches, because remember, I'm the wrestling fan. So I've watched a lot of the, your fucking Chris Jericho versus Eddie Guerrero type matches, that stuff. But I wasn't, man. Hulk Hogan, I was over Hulk Hogan by then. I know you're a big Hogan fan. Bischoff's right, but he's not arguing in good faith, because nothing will ever get those kind of ratings on any kind of content. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do know what you mean. Did you see that Eric Bischoff said that he would like to start WCW back up just to show Tony Khan how it's done?
No.
He did say that. He said that he would like to start WCW back up to show Tony Khan that it can be done and how it should be done. And I'm not sure that Eric Bischoff could pull that off anymore.
Man, Derek is going to fucking kill us in our chats when he hears me say this. Eric Bischoff knows way more about wrestling than Tony Khan. Tony Khan just has a lot of money and is a mark and a fan. That's one of the things we like about it, because one of us is in control, right? That's one of the things that we like about Tony Khan. One of us has money and can make the things happen that we've always wanted. How much have we wanted William Regal and Bryan Danielson to be in a faction? He did that. He did that for us.
Is that what you wanted? I never once put that on my wish list.
I love, Regal's one of my all-time favorites. He's in my top 10. I love William Regal. But man,
the whole Blackpool pocket.
I don't really. I don't care for John Moxley at all, but anything Bryan Danielson does, I'm a fan of. He's kind of he's in CM Punk territory with me. He can't do anything wrong. He does no wrong. And what really sucks about that was he was on fire as a heel. You know, he was his like arrogant, I'm wrestling your face off and kicking your fucking dome off heel persona was wonderful. But then, you know, he's a regal acolyte. So my point is, Eric Bischoff knows more about wrestling. I don't care what anyone says, and I don't like him.
Do you think that Eric Bischoff could go head to head with Tony Khan with a wrestling company and beat him?
Does he have the money?
No.
Then no.
Then no.
No, it's all money. The only reason AEW exists is because of that money. If it wasn't for all of that money, they wouldn't have CM Punk. They wouldn't have Bryan Danielson. They would fucking still have Jelly Nutella. Like he would be the TNT champion.
Man, that would be terrible. So back to CM Punk. One of the things that come to mind for me is how much I cared about CM Punk not being around. It bothered me.
Brian took it personally.
It bothered me for years that CM Punk wouldn't just show up and wouldn't just show up and do something. Like I didn't care what he did. I just wanted him to do something, and he wouldn't. Mm-hmm. And years went by, and he still didn't. And then I stopped caring. And he still didn't come back. And I stopped caring even more. And then he still didn't come back. And the chants happened, the CM Punk chants, they were going on this entire time. And then even they faded. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then he still didn't come back. And by that time, after we had went through that and through that and through that, to the point where it was like, CM Punk's never coming back. It's a done deal. It's a wrap. He's not coming back, and we need to stop thinking about him. And everyone collectively stopped giving a absolute shit about CM Punk. And then he came back.
And we were reminded.
And you were reminded. It came back into you, and you were like, CM Punk's on television. I remember when I seen him come out, and I just stopped everybody in my house from talking and cranked the TV all the way up and listened to every word on the edge of my seat. And after it was over, I still didn't care anymore.
Really?
And there wasn't anything that, and I wanted to care. That was the thing.
Now, are you liking his matches though? Like the match with fucking Seven, with fucking what's his name? With Dustin was a great match, dude. He's having great matches.
Called him Seven.
I saw
called him Seven.
I watched this.
Called him Seven. Even
I watched this,
Seven.
Dude, because I've been watching a lot of Impact. I know I've been talking about that a lot lately on this great app called Pluto. Everyone get it because there's just an Impact channel, and man, you get to see really great stuff, and then you'll have to see like Abyss versus Kevin Nash, or you'll see Seven and Supermex and Conan in like a Texas Tornado tag match, and it's fucking awful. But yeah, Seven and CM Punk, man, they had a great match. You know, CM Punk's having great matches, right? We know that he's
having great matches.
Now, do you care?
He's doing all of his CM Punk stuff.
Well, he's doing a lot of Bret Hart stuff too.
Sure, and I love that tribute shit. It's great, and I love seeing it. But I just don't care as much about CM Punk as I once did. Well, and there's nothing I can do about it. I want to care. I want to be a CM Punk fan. I have always been a CM Punk fan. Mm-hmm. And I like him now. I don't dislike him. I will never dislike him, but I just don't care as much as I once did. Well, and I can't make myself care that much anymore simply because he took too long. His break, his mental health break or whatever it was, took too long. And now no one gives a shit.
You're proving Eric Bischoff right, because here's the thing. I don't want
to. I love CM Punk, and I'm really glad that he's in the title picture right now. I feel like I try to coach myself to be a CM Punk fan every single week.
Okay, so that goes to something that we have talked about offline. Eventually, when we have a Patreon, we'll be posting some of those screenshots. I was telling Derek, the resident AEW apologist and biggest mark in the history of markdom, They're not making new fans. The fans who are fans, and that's it. And if you can't make Brian Resner, look behind Brian Resner, viewers. That's tens of thousands of dollars of fucking wrestling merch back there. This man watches
in front of me.
I can imagine. This man watches more wrestling, almost as much wrestling as Derek Jones does.
I'm a big wrestling fan.
And if he doesn't care about CM Punk deeply, then what Bischoff is saying is true. That man, CM Punk is not moving the needle. He's not getting, he got hot at the beginning. He did 1.1 million on fucking Rampage, and nobody watches that. 400,000 people. Dude, Rampage has been getting, I did the research on this because I thought we were doing this earlier. Guy Fieri's Grocery Wars has been consistently beating AEW Rampage on Fridays. And those are reruns. That show's not even new anymore. So like reruns on the Food Network has been beating Rampage, right? And like Eric Bischoff is right, but he's arguing in bad faith because you can't compare 90s ratings to now, but you can't
compare Rampage ratings to anything. Rampage doesn't even have a time slot. They're just like, yeah, this week Rampage is on at 3 p.m. Make sure you check it out. It's like you never know when Rampage is even coming on. So I don't even watch it when it comes on now. I just watch it after SmackDown. I know it aired sometime during that day. Whenever TNT decided to show it, I think it came on at 1 a.m. Whatever. I always watch it after SmackDown, just watch the replay of Rampage because that's where I want it to be. I wish it was just there all the time after SmackDown where it's supposed to be.
But, and even if you go to Dynamite, the flagship of AEW, they're not making new fans. It's what the God Emperor keeps talking about because it's niche. And I know, and I want to posit this to you. I think that we're about 10 to 15 years away from wrestling not even being a thing. I think we're in the roller derby days of wrestling because no new fans are being made. The only people who are fucking wrestling fans now are supermarks or us. And we're going to die eventually. I'm 45. You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to be around anymore. No new fans. I want to hear somebody in the comment section, please. I want to hear from one person who went from never liking wrestling, watching AEW, and becoming a fan. Find one. It's a fucking unicorn.
I do have to say I know one.
Okay, fair enough.
I know one. My boss, his name is Brian Goldberg. He went to AEW with me and my friend David Tyree, and we had 2 extra tickets. So him and his wife joined us front row at AEW, had the time of their freaking lives, hung out with Tony Khan, hung out with Adam Cole, and I think he would go to any AEW show that comes anywhere near. He even bought the hat and the t-shirt.
Now, is he watching regularly now?
He is every now and then. He will like send me a text about something he's watching on TV that has to do with AEW. Like he is, I mean, I wouldn't say he's a fan, but he definitely enjoyed himself and would go again and would stop on it if he was clicking through his television.
Okay, so I would push back on that and say it took a supermarket playing Jehovah's Witness to make him a fan.
Right. Exactly. And it took front row freaking seats at an amazing event to turn him into a fan. But CM Punk, I think that maybe when he wins the title, because is there any doubt in your mind he's going to win the belt?
No, man. Look, dude, I'm sorry, AEW nerds. I'm sorry for the soy that you eat, but man, Hangman Adam Page is flat.
He is
flat. It's a flat championship. I don't give a fuck what people say.
And before I say this, I watch AEW every single week. I like watching AEW. I am glad AEW exists.
They have better matches. They do have on as a whole, they have better matches than WWE.
And another thing I will say is I am an Adam Page fan. I've been an Adam Page fan since day one. I've always liked Adam Page. I have nothing bad to say about Adam Page. Adam Page is not a world heavyweight champion. And before he became world heavyweight champion, I thought there was a possibility that he might be ready. I really did. But he's not. This is not working. It was a great story to book that out for that long with Adam Page and Kenny Omega. I almost think you should have, maybe carried it out even longer. I think maybe making Adam Page a drunk fuck up for like a year and a half may have not been the best build for him.
You think? When has that ever worked? When has that ever worked?
Yeah,
remember they did it to Scott Hall. They did it to Scott Hall, and that was cringy and shitty. They did it to Hulk at WWE. It was cringy and shitty. Nobody wants to see your heroes be fucking dehumanized.
Right. And they didn't do it like, the argument would be, well, Stone Cold, he was a drunk, and
he was never sad drunk. He wasn't a sad drunk.
He wasn't losing his friends. It was such a bad way to book somebody that you plan on making your champion. Then you make him your champion. So you've got a guy that you've kind of ruined his ability to be the champion. And then you bring a guy in who everybody really wished would have came back 3 or 4 years ago. And now you're going to put him in a world title match. And of course, I think CM Punk's going to get the belt. I believe. He has to. I mean, it's what makes sense from what you've put together. This is the conclusion that makes sense. But will CM Punk be able to recapture that feeling?
Well, it's not even just feeling, because what Bischoff is talking about is pure numbers. Adam Page has not spiked the numbers.
Well, I understand that, but I'm talking about CM Punk. CM Punk gets the title. Will he be able to recapture the fire that he once had, that everyone got behind a champion CM Punk? Will that be resurrected? Will we see that? Will I feel that again?
I think if he goes heel
fan again.
Man, you know what I think you're seeing? I may have diagnosed you, Brian. Do you think that CM Punk's a great face, and can he sustain it like Hulk Hogan over fucking like 12 years? We like CM Punk when he was a snide shithead. Yeah, we like snide shithead Punk.
Yeah.
So if he gets the belt, but see, and then they just made Adam Page a heel one night. It was like, go be heel. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Their heel face game makes zero sense whatsoever. And if you ask them, they're like, we don't have heels and faces in AEW, but you clearly fucking do.
Cody Rhodes proved that they are fucking valuable, didn't he? Cody Rhodes is like, hey, people want somebody to fucking boo, and somebody wants somebody to fucking to cheer for. You know what I'm saying? And I want to say publicly right now, I was completely wrong to Brian Resner over the fucking months of Cody Rhodes doing whatever the fuck Cody Rhodes was doing. I stand behind him becoming a try-hard, annoying dickhead towards the end of his AEW run, and I thought he was going to popcorn fart in WWE. Dude, Monday Night Raw last night, he's over like crazy. Brian Resner, I apologize. I'm so sorry.
Cody Rhodes is on his way to being one of the names that's mentioned when you talk about the greatest of all time.
If he can keep it up.
And hey, I think he can. I can't believe, first of all, even if he's not, he's damn sure the greatest negotiator of all time, because he walked right back in the door to the WWE. And you got to think, the last time he was in that door, they were telling him, hey, even though you're Dusty Rhodes' son, and even though you're extremely talented, and even though you've been trained and influenced by Randy Orton, we don't give a fuck. You're going to dress up like a star.
You're Stardust.
You're a star guy, and you're going to come out there and you're going to do a cartwheel, and that's what you do. So eat it or go home. And he decided to go home. And that's, that's okay. That's what happened to him. But then he walked back through the door and he's like, okay, you're going to book me like the biggest star in this company.
And
You are going to book me like I am untouchable. I'm going to beat everyone. I'm going to come out with my own music. I'm going to use my own name. I am going to have my tattoo printed on everything. I am going to get you to make fake tattoos for the fans that you're going to shove me down their throats. Mm-hmm. And they did.
And dude, but remember, man, we're dance. It's a dance partner, dude. Seth freaking Rollins is fucking killing it as a heel. That right there, that storyline, that angle. It's wrestling. It's just wrestling. We got a fucking white meat baby face, and we've got a dastardly bad guy. You know why you like Quentin Tarantino movies? Cause you know who the fuck is the good guy, and you know who the fuck the bad guy is. Maybe, okay, Mansoor Candy from Django. He's entertaining, but you know he's the bad guy. You're entertained by him, but you can't wait for him to get fucking shot. Spoilers. AEW's just not getting this fucking right. You know, like, let's talk about the champions.
Well, wait, hold on. I've got to mention one thing about Cody Rhodes before we stop talking about Cody Rhodes. When
she's gonna stay here.
I know, right? I've got to talk about how cool.
You're right. You're right.
But here's a big mistake, a huge mistake. Okay, they're doing this giant show in what arena are they going to be in?
They're in Vegas, right?
Yeah. Okay, you're in Vegas
at the Raiders place, aren't they?
You're in Vegas at the Raiders Stadium. And you're going to do this on July the fucking 4th.
I know what you're going to say.
And you call this, and you're dealing with Cody Rhodes, the son of Dusty Rhodes, the man who created the great American Bash. And you're going to tell me you own the Great American Bash. You've got Cody Rhodes. It's on July fucking 4th at a fucking football stadium. And you are not going to call this the Great American Bash? What the fuck is going on? You know?
Hey, look,
they can't even make any sense. Like, how could you even put all those puzzle pieces together and then piss all over them? What are you talking about? Money in the Bank is coming to the Raiders Stadium on July 4th with Cody Rhodes?
I knew you were going to fucking go there. Look, it's still WWE.
Can you tell me how it makes sense? Make it make sense to me, Barker.
Because it's WWE. It's WWE. Even when they fall into good shit, they still fuck it up.
Like, literally, you could not have tripped and fell into a better situation than this. This is the opportunity to do the Great American Bash in a football stadium with Cody Rhodes on July 4th.
Here's the thing, though. I think that if you're talking about the Nick Khan, the more modern wrestling executive or whatever, we're old. I know you don't think of yourself as old, but we are. And if Steve New was here, he would fucking say it too. We are old enough to remember how great and significant the Great American Bash is. But man, here's the thing. Go to a WWE show. There's kids. There's new fans being made. Say what you want to about the quality of WWE, but the last time me and Adam Harris went to, shout out Adam, we went and saw a SmackDown taping. There's kids. There's teenagers. They ain't at AEW. They aren't at AEW.
I'm old. You're old. We care about Great American Bash. No one else does.
Right.
Okay, let's pretend that Dusty Rhodes, the father of Cody Rhodes, the American fucking dream. Let's pretend that the American dream, Dusty Rhodes, never created the Great American Bash. And let's say that WCW never used the Great American Bash. And let's say that there weren't so many legendary fucking nights of the Great American Bash. Let's say it never existed. Never in the history of the world. And somebody was sitting there and saying, hey, we're doing a pay-per-view on July the 4th in a football stadium. And somebody said, we should call that the Great American Bash. It fucking works. Even though there's no history, even though no one knows about it. It's the greatest name for this event that you could possibly have.
You're absolutely right. You're right.
And you own it.
You're right.
And not only would new fans be like, that's a cool name for a July 4th show, but old fans would be like, this is the greatest tribute to Dusty Rhodes of all time.
And then you have Lacey Evans come out on a tank with a fucking American bikini on, dude.
You're gonna screw this whole video up because I've got so many things to say about the cringiest fucking gimmick I've ever seen.
Let's save that for later because we can get into that.
We need to talk about that. We need to put a video out about Lacey Evans very soon because I have a lot of ranting to do about how terrible that gimmick is.
We need to
want to vomit.
Before we do it, we have to have our resident Captain America, Steve New, former tank commander in the Army, here to get what he thinks about that.
I honestly think that might end the podcast. If we do if we bring Steve New on here and
you just bury the military forces chick,
I don't know what else to do than bury her. It's so terrible. Every time I see it, I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me?
Dude, that's got Vince McMahon's name all over it. Blonde Belle.
One question I have is, did her father really do all that stuff to her? And is that his actual picture that they're using on the screen?
I think that's all a shoot. She had a pretty shitty.
Where the hell is he at? And why is he allowing his picture to be on national television while people tell horrible stories about him in the worst gimmick I've ever seen?
They're libel laws. We need a lawyer in here.
And why is she so terrible that she makes me cheer her father? I don't. It's a terrible situation to put me in as a wrestling fan.
Let's get back to Bischoff, because that's a good one. We're going to do that. We'll put a pin in that because I want Steve New here for that.
Yeah,
because as someone from a military family, I have a hard time hating on it. But she looks like that too. Look at her. Have you seen Lacey Evans? I mean, Jesus Christ, dude. That's a straight dime piece just running around for America.
I can't even see her as attractive because her gimmick's so vilely disgusting.
It's got Vince McMahon all over it. Blonde bimbo.
Back to Bischoff. Controversy creates cash, and I believe that is exactly what he is doing here. He's saying, hey, if I attack CM Punk, then the fans he does have are going to come for me. And that is going to make my show popular, because
that's what we need. We need to see his numbers. We should see, I wish we had his podcast ratings, because I would guess his ratings went up since he started with this Twitter feud with CM Punk. Holy shit.
His ratings were already great because honestly, I mean, being a podcast fan, and being a fan of Conrad's shows, listening to him and Bruce, when the Bruce show kind of started losing its fire, Eric Bischoff came right along, and I started listening to 83 Weeks. I tried to listen to Tony Schiavone's show, and because I was such a fan of the Bruce show, then Tony's show started, and I was like, well, I think I'll probably like that one too. But all it did was remind me that I absolutely despise Tony Schiavone and never want to hear him speak. He is my least favorite part about AEW and is my least favorite podcaster, I think, period. So that show was terrible. So I'm surprised I even gave Eric a chance, but it was because I loved his book so much. So I listened to 83 Weeks, and I honestly would rank 83 Weeks over the Bruce Pritchard podcast and the Tony Schiavone podcast, and I would rank it over. I would also rank it over that terrible Arn Anderson podcast he was doing for a while there. I don't even know if that still exists or not, but that was a really bad podcast. And I haven't listened to Jeff Jarrett or Kurt Angle.
Good. The Jeff Jarrett's great. I used to think I was the biggest Double J mark until I met Derek Jones, and he might be a bigger Double J mark than me. But Jeff's is great. Oh, actually, that reminds us, Brian, be on the lookout next week. The House of Kayfabe podcast is going to probably release the biggest, bestest video we've ever done. Brian, tell the good people about it.
Well, we did an awesome TNA panel with some really great people. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag too much, but Jeff Jarrett was there, and quite a few other key players from the original TNA. And we had a TNA discussion that shed some light on a lot of different things. And I think that you guys are really going to enjoy it. Jeff Jarrett's there. Chris Harris is there. D'Lo's there. There's a couple other people there. So it's a really, really great panel discussion that I think that you're all going to enjoy. So make sure you hit subscribe so that you can get that video when it comes out. Now, before we end, what is the synopsis here? Do we believe that CM Punk can come back from this? Because it's obvious that Eric is somewhat correct in his statement.
He is, but he hasn't moved the needle. He moved the needle for a while, and the thing is, he's been doing a good job, dude. The MJF CM Punk shit is not even, it's not even close. It's the feud of the year, and that's even as good as what Brock and Roman did leading to WrestleMania, which was great. That was great.
CM Punk do anything to fix the problem? Because he's doing, I mean, he's, like you said, great matches. He's back.
Great promos.
He's doing
Everything's
great
good.
promos. He's wrestling every single week. I mean, he is 100% back in business. Can he make the CM Punk fans care again? Can a champion CM Punk make the CM Punk fans care again?
I will use an analogy that Stephen New would understand and really dig. Moon Knight was a show on fucking Disney Plus. It's a Marvel show.
Okay.
And it's fucking terrible. But the lead guy who played the Moon Knight is excellent. He's so good. He's great in it, but the plot sucks. The fucking other actors suck. The action sucks. Everything sucks except for what's his name? Oscar Isaacs. That's what we're seeing in AEW, man. Like, look, AEW was never going to be what CM Punk or what Eric Bischoff thinks is possible, which is actually someone who can really compete for the crown and to topple the gargantuan that is WWE. It's niche. It's anime. It's fucking anime. And actually the fan bases overlap. If you watch some of the cringy fucking signs that those AEW nerds fucking write every day, every Wednesday, it's never ever going to get bigger than this. They've got a billionaire just slinging money, just throwing money like a drunken sailor at this thing, and they can't get more than 1.3 million people to watch. It's never going to get bigger. What we can hope for is CM Punk will, get the belt, probably, hopefully turn heel, give us some old school, like, straight edge society shit. And that's about it.
That would be fantastic. I'm going to be the optimist here to say that I believe that AEW is going to grow. I would like to see CM Punk win me and the rest of the CM Punk fans back, make us care again, because believe me, every time I turn the television on, I want to care. I want to care badly. I just don't get to care as often as I would like to. And it's not for lack of trying. It really isn't. But nevertheless,
dude, before we go, I'm looking right now at the ratings of every Dynamite ever. The most they've ever had was 1.4 million. And no, I'm wrong. This would have been right after Punk. Okay, so let's look at this. Right after Punk, we're doing 1 million for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 straight weeks. 1.1, 1.2, 1.1, 1.3. This is after CM Punk, and then October 16th, we're down 727, and then they're hovering. They can't break that. They can't break above 1 point, what looks like to be 1.3, 1.4. Yeah, 1.4 was their very first episode, and the very next week after the 1.4 was 1 million and 1 million, then all the way down to 789. They're not making what do you call that? Destination television. They're just not. As many times as they talk about the goddamn Forbidden Door and they bring in some fucking Japanese wrestler that 7 people know about in America, they're not pushing the needle. They're not going to ever get it. They'll be able to stay there, and that's great because I want wrestling to exist. I want to watch wrestling, but they're never going to. I just don't see it.
Well, I believe Derek Jones would tell you you're wrong.
Oh, of course,
nevertheless, I have the best. I have the best hopes in the world for AEW, and I really hope that CM Punk makes us all care again. And I hope that we see more come from a CM Punk championship run than has came from CM Punk just being there. Period. But we will talk about this and much more, and how bad I hate Lacey Evans the next time that you join us here on YouTube for the House of Kayfabe. For Stephen Barker and for me, Brian Resner, we will see you next time.